can, in a country like India, which is so diverse, has so many states and union territories, the proposal for the simultaneous elections be passed? Can the one nation, one election proposal take place in a country which has more than 140 crore population? This is what we will be looking today. Hello and welcome to the In Focus series section of Drishti IAS. I am Aisha Singh, and in today's video we will be talking about the simultaneous elections, that is one nation, one election in India. Now we need to first understand that what is the meaning of the word simultaneous election. So if you are aware about India's political system, then you must be knowing that there is a national level elections and then there is state elections. So there is state legislative assembly and legislative council, while there is Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha at the national level. So as of now, what is happening is then the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha elections are different, while the state assembly elections are different, and they both happen differently. Simultaneous election means that the national elections, that is the election for the Lok Sabha, and the state legislative assembly elections, that is the national election and the state election, should take place in one go. There should be one election happening in India. As of now, the state elections are different while the national elections are different. It should not be different, it should be one election. So that is the meaning of the word simultaneous election. So we will be looking today about the news, first, then about the background of the simultaneous election, what are the challenges in it, what are the status in other countries, what is the stance of the Law Commission, in the end a prelims MCQ. Topic is of relevance from General Studies paper 2, that is polity section. Let's begin. The news talks about the pros and cons of simultaneous elections explained. So simultaneous election, I've told you what is the meaning of it. We will be looking into the what are the benefits and what are the challenges in it. So what is happening is that the high level committee, which is chaired by the former President of India, Ramnath Kovind, has invited responses from political parties, Law Commission and other groups on the proposal to hold simultaneous elections. So this high level committee is preparing a report that what are the challenges, what are the pros and the cons in the happening or in the proposing of the simultaneous elections in a country like India. So they have invited responses from various grounds. Now let us talk about the background of the simultaneous elections in India. So the first four general elections which took place in the year 1952, 1957, 1962 and 1967, these four elections, these four general elections, they were held simultaneously. The elections to the Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies were held simultaneously. It means the one election was held, different elections did not take place. So it is not that after independence, that is after the year 1947, in India simultaneous elections had not taken place. It had taken place 4 times, and that is 1952, 57, 62 and 67. So what happened was that during earlier times, that is after the independence, due to the premature dissolution of Lok Sabha in some states and legislative assemblies in some states on various occasions. Now what happens is that when the legislative assemblies were getting dissoluted and the Lok Sabha were getting dissolution at different time intervals, there was mismatch between the tenure of both Lok Sabha and the legislative assemblies, and because of which simultaneous elections could not take place. That is, elections to the Lok Sabha and various state assemblies were held at different times because of the dissolution of Lok Sabha and the state legislative assemblies at different times. Then in the year 2019, 4 states had their assembly elections along with the Lok Sabha. So in recent times, that is in the year 2019, in 4 states the elections were held in accordance with the Lok Sabha elections. Then the topic of the simultaneous elections is mooted in the past by the Election Commission of India, that is the ECI, in the year 1982, and the Law Commission in its report of 1999. So the Election Commission of India and the Law Commission has always talked about the topic of the simultaneous elections. Then case for the simultaneous elections. So let's talk about few of the aspects. First of all, about the cost. So when elections happens in a country like India, which is so diverse, has so much of population, there are so many states, so everything has to be done. First, let's talk about the national level. Then if we talk about the cost of holding general elections, then it is around rupees 4,000 crore. National level Lok Sabha elections. Then each state assembly election would also cost considerable amount. Now imagine that simultaneous elections are not taking place, then apart from this national level election, that is the Lok Sabha election, which is costing rupees 4,000 crores, that is 4,000 CR. It is a huge amount, because this amount is what is given from the government sides. So this is the hard earned money of the people, and there is so much of manpower and logistics that is also required throughout the nation, throughout the territory of India. So then that in itself is a big logistical, administrative and a manpower challenge in itself. Now that when we talk about the national level election, so this much amount and this much hard work is required. Now imagine that every state is also holding its separate and individual election. It means that the amount will shoot up to many more times. So this is one of the problems. So simultaneous elections will reduce this cost of elections. Second is the governance aspect. Now what happens is, when so many states the elections are taking place, so it means that every state, around 6-7 states or around 5 states are going through the phase of elections. When a state is going through the phase of election, so there is an election fever also which is going on, which is going in throughout the state. And then what happens is that the minister or the people who are contesting for the seats, or the people who are contesting the elections, they are in the campaign mode throughout. So the policy implementation and the policy making aspect gets a backseat. Now this is where the governance portion is not very well entertained. At least 5-6 state elections that happens every year, ministers being in permanent campaign mode, and this is a hindrance to policy making and governance. Now this is a hindrance to policy making and governance, and that is why if the simultaneous elections will take place, then this hindrance would be very less. Then comes the topic of administrative machinery in the district slow down. So during the time of election campaigning, and when the model code of conduct is in place, the administrative machinery slows down, because the administration is also busy in the conduct of the elections. So during which the primary focus being the conduct of elections. So imagine that every year around 6 to 7 states are going through this mode. So how will the work, or how will the government work? So it is the work which takes a backseat. Now about the challenges which arises when we talk about the implementation of the simultaneous elections in a country like India. So that is national issues overshadowing regional and state specific issues. Now this is true that if the simultaneous elections will take place, then the national parties will become more powerful, and there might be chances that the national parties will be able to suppress the state parties. Then the national political parties will have a significant advantage over regional parties, because the regional parties are very small as compared to the national parties, and they are very small in size, they are very small in funds, so they might be sidelined, detrimental to the federal spirit of the country, because we consider the center and the state as equal participant. So with this respect, the federal nature of the country will be at risk, and the federalism is also the basic component of our constitution. Then the fixed tenure of 5 years for the Lok Sabha and state assemblies will therefore require constitutional amendment to Article 83, 85, 172 and 174. Now what happens is that every state has their legislative assemblies, and the dissolution of the legislative assemblies, the fixed tenure of the legislative assemblies, if simultaneous elections will happen, that all these needs to be dissolved. So that needs a constitutional amendment, and being a parliamentary democracy, constitutional amendment is not that easy. Then simultaneous polls will also require constitutional amendment under Article 356. So these are few of the challenges, and we also talked about the challenges of manpower, logistical challenges, then the cost of elections. So these are add-on challenges. Then status in other countries. So if we talk about few of other countries like South Africa, Sweden and Germany, they have fixed tenure for their legislators. Then the National Assembly and provincial legislatures happen simultaneously in South Africa every 5 years. So in South Africa, simultaneous elections are taking place. Then the Prime Minister of Sweden and the Chancellor of Germany are elected by their respective legislators every 4 years. So there are simultaneous elections taking place in other countries also. Now let's talk about the stance of Law Commission, what the Law Commission has said. Then in the year 2018, it has examined the challenges and proposed solutions for conducting simultaneous elections in India. So let's see what the Law Commission has talked about. It has talked about that elections to the Lok Sabha and nearly half of the state assemblies may be clubbed together in one cycle. So clubbing of elections in one cycle, that national elections with few states and then other states can be clubbed together. So it is not that every state will have their individual elections. Clubbing of states can be done. Any no confidence motion in Lok Sabha or Legislative Assembly should be mandatorily accompanied by a confidence motion for formation of an alternate government. So with no confidence motion, if it is thinking of getting the no confidence motion, then the confidence motion should come side by it, so that the alternative government is always present. Then by-elections necessitated by death, resignation or disqualification of members can be clubbed together and conducted once in a year. So that every single time the by-elections in the state should not be taking place, because after election, by-election is also a process which takes a lot of time and is considered to be a important process. So that should also be clubbed together and it should happen once in a year. Now in the end of prelims MCQ, and you people need to tell me the answer in the comment section. Consider the following statements. Which of the statements given are correct? First 4 general election cycles in 1952, 57, 62 and 67 were held simultaneously in India. Second, in year 2019, all the states had their assembly elections along with the Lok Sabha. All the states. You have to talk about the correct statement. Codes are 1 only, 2 only, both 1 and 2, neither 1 nor 2. So give me the answer in the comment section. And that's all for today. Thank you so much for watching. Till we meet next time, keep reading, keep writing and keep subscribing to the channel. Thank you.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.